to give our interpretation, not his interpretation. And I remember it just like yesterday. When it was my time, I read, I gave my interpretation, and she butted in. I said, you know what, here's the deal. I don't want to read what you offer. I am tired of you presenting European authors to us. Everybody that you talk about was a literary genius. All of them were not. Where are my African American literary geniuses? As a matter of fact, I don't like you. I don't like this class. And I got up and I went to the assistant principal, and we negotiated. And here's what she did. That's why I know she was an extraordinary teacher. She wasn't a bad teacher. She was an extraordinary teacher because she tolerated my foolishness. Here's the agreement we made. Let me read any books I want to read. You tell me how many to read. I'll write the paper, footnotes, bibliography. I'll do everything. And all I need is a B. I don't want you. I'll make an A, but you're not going to give me an A. And that's what she allowed me to do. And that's what I did for senior English for the rest of the year. My senior English term paper was on the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I was introduced to Alex Haley. And it wasn't until Roots, that I said, oh, that's the guy who finished the autobiography of Malcolm X. I didn't know. I didn't make the connection until Roots, whenever that was.
It was the 80s. What year is this?
This is the 70s, because Roots, I moved to Corsicana in 75. Roots was, I saw that it had to be 76, 77 that Roots came out. But I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I graduated in 1970, so it's 1969, 1970 that I read it. I actually got locked in the Dallas Public Library because I was sitting in a corner reading, and I lost track of time because we read all the time. Yeah.
So how had you seen, okay. I've got several questions I want to ask about this. Okay. You're sort of establishing the African American literary canon here in this particular school at the time. Did other black students follow your way? Were they reading these authors as well? Had they heard of them?
Yeah, we all had to read the same thing. This is interesting. The same group of kids that I started with in the first grade, I went to that same. I was with that same group of kids through the 7th grade, and so what I knew, they knew. We all we tell this story about how we caught it. Our 7th grade English teacher. We all diagrammed the sentence the same way, and I remember corporal punishment was in, and Mrs. Robinson. Someone went to the board, diagrammed the sentence. She said, "That's not right. Someone else go up." The other person did it. The next person did it the same way. And she said, "How many of you did it that way?" Every single person did it. And what it confirmed was, we all knew the same thing. We all read the same stuff. Now, to varying degrees, we read the same kinds of things. We had the same teachers. Some of us were more driven than others. But I had the same. I started the 1st grade with 9 boys. I finished the 7th grade with the same 9 boys.
Oh, nice. Well, okay, so you graduate from high school, and you decide to come to a rural area of East Texas, kind of. Well, we've been known for some racism. I mean, in fact, that sign in Greenville's still up when you come, isn't it? Or no, is it down with the black soil, whitest people?
It's still up.
Yeah. So you come anyway.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting. I'm one of those, I grew up in a household that preached, be careful on your way up because you may meet those same people on your way down, and you will come down. The other piece of it that I learned was you can learn from everybody. Don't you let your anger or your dislike for people keep you from receiving your blessing. So with that in mind, I grew up with a very Afrocentric teaching, but I wasn't so angry that I wouldn't let you teach me because your skin was white.
You're proud, but not angry.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't do anything to me.
But many of us did.
Yeah, then I lashed out at you. You caught hell if you did. But if you were kind and generous, if you treated me with respect, I treated you with respect. But if you didn't, you caught hell. Because that's the way I was raised. I was raised in a household that as I got older, if there were things that they would not let me do, my argument was this. That's why I say the grandparents that I had, they were ordained. They were supposed to be my grandparents, because here's what I would tell them. Here's what you taught me. You taught me to be responsible, to do good in school, to stay out of trouble. I've done all of that. But now you say I can't go anywhere. Make it be mine. My grandfather would always say, be a man, boy. You know what I mean? And so, and I would use that back on myself. Here's the deal. You want me to act like an adult. I'm holding up my end of the bargain. So I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to let you guys talk about it and decide whether or not I'm going to be able to go. Because I'm doing everything you asked me to do, and I'm being the person you want me to be. And I would leave the room and I would laugh, and I know, well, it's not going to work, but at least I tried. I would try it every time. It didn't work. And now I'd come back. So what did you guys decide? Oh, we decided before you left. You're not going. Wow. I didn't get angry because I knew that they were doing the very best for me. They didn't survive through the period that they lived being stupid and making bad decisions. So if I figured they were still alive and well and healthy, and they lived through the Depression and World War I and World War II, and they lived through all of that segregated crap, that they had to be pretty smart.
And fighters too, because I mean, that story of your grandmother being carried away by your grandfather to I mean, that's part of the story you always do, right?
Yeah. And so it's I came here, this is interesting, I came here because my basketball coach, who's Ingo, who's an alum, went to the school. He was my basketball coach in the 9th grade. When I went to T.J. Rusk, I went to junior high 1 year. So we desegregated that school. I'm a 9th grader. I'm a little basketball player. My basketball coach, Larry Drake, was the coach there. Somehow, somebody, I don't know whose wisdom this was. It had to be the superintendent, because most of the coaches who were at my junior high went with us when we went to high school. Mr. Drake was the head basketball coach at T.J. Rusk. When I went to North Dallas High School as a 9th grader, he went to that school as the basketball coach. He was not my coach in the 9th grade because I played what was called junior varsity. But my 11th, I went to Rusk as a 9th grader because it was a junior high system. When I went to North Dallas as a 10th grader, I played with another coach in the 10th grade. My high school coach in the 11th grade always talked about the school. He said, you've got to check that school out. And what's interesting is that he started working for the Ford, well, there was a Ford plant in Dallas near the buildings are still there near Fair Park. He got a summer job there between my senior year, my junior year and senior year, made so much money, he quit. So he wasn't my coach my senior year, but he had impressed upon me enough, you need to try East Texas State. That's a good school. You need to check it out. I never forgot that. And so Coach Gudger was the basketball coach here then. So, and the other piece of it is, you know, because I lived in the library, we got the East Texan.
You did?
In high school. And so I was reading the paper because I pretty much decided, yeah, Mr. Drake's never led me wrong. He's a good man. He has a good heart. So why would I not take him up on that? And so I wrote Coach Gudger a letter, gave him all my stats, and they invited me to come up for a basketball tryout. And so I'm in high school. This is spring of 70, before I graduated from high school. And so I came up here on a basketball tryout. I came one Friday, during the day, and I remember they were adding on, to some construction was going on either at the Student Center or the BA building. And so I came, went to the field house, met the coaches, practiced. I lived in Sykes Hall.